my other job was designing buildings, structural engineering. So, and then I know people in that world, just in that whole classic world of normal careers and academics, like everyone's very well, like, calculates everything. And my job was calculations, you know.
Yeah.
And so, but then I think for me it's a bit of an overcoming line, because, you know, like at the time I gave up a lot of like security and definites about what was going on, but at the same time I knew I had to just completely like change direction in my life, and it was a bit more like finally responding to like what was in your heart, rather than just letting your head always like dictate what you're doing in life. So the heart, it has more intelligence than your head, I suppose. Yeah. So
when your head don't get it, but your heart is ready to go.
Welcome to the Musician Secrets podcast. Today I have the singer-songwriter Josh Lee Hamilton with me. You're from Australia, right?
Yeah.
So,
I live actually I live right near, I don't know if you guys know this, but I live near a town called Byron Bay, and there was meant to be a big music festival on this week, because Australia's been pretty good with COVID.
Yeah.
And they were just about to be one of the biggest music festivals in a while. And we literally had like our first case in the area in a long time, and the whole festival got shut down over one case. Yeah, I don't know if it's made news like beyond Australia, but yeah, and it's pretty crazy. It's like all of us, of course it's not international acts anymore, it's all of Australia's biggest acts in some way. And so that's the town where I'm from has just been going through a little bit of mayhem over a few cases.
Oh my gosh.
So it's we've done well, but the thing is we sort of pay the price when there's just these tiny little outbreaks. And so
Like,
the whole music festival got shut down.
Yeah. Oh no. Like, is it like we're happy when we're like under 100? Like, for like 7 days, and you get one, and like everything gets shut down.
Yeah,
that is insane.
Like it's hard to know what the right answer is with all that, but gets a little frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. I do not want to be in the shoes of someone that has to make that decision, because it doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to lose, right? Someone's going to oh, what are you doing? You know, and yes, that's great. And then you do the other way around, and they're like, hey, what are you doing? So I'm just glad I don't have to make those decisions. But on a lighter note, Josh, introduce yourself, like, for people that don't know who you are, where you're from, that, you know, just explain your journey, what got you into songwriting, into music, and basically to where you are now.
I grew up with a musical dad. That was sort of my first discovery of music through him, and he basically made us jam with him, so he had someone to play with when we were like 10 years old. So it was a little bit compulsory back then, and we weren't always doing it out of our own passion, but then eventually I discovered it on my own terms, more through my later teenage years. I've always been attracted to songwriting, so that side of it, and melody, and because my first instrument was actually drums, and then I went to bass, but then in the end, like a means of writing a song these days is just the good old humble acoustic guitar. So I never learnt keys. I wish I did, but I can fudge it a little bit, but so it's mainly just acoustic guitar. And but I suppose I've always just been writing, and all these years later I'm still writing. I just do it because that's a part of who I am. What I do, yeah, but I suppose I've had a season of like just balancing out. I haven't always done music like full-time intent, you know. I've done it. I think a lot of us have to mix it up and balance it out with other things in life that we, for our livelihood. But the last 3 years before COVID, I did it full-time around my area here and a few gigs around Australia. And yeah, I discovered a way to do it as a livelihood. But yeah, COVID sort of changed everything up again. Yeah, and now I'm sort of just in this balancing act between my other job and keeping just doing as much music as I can.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it's like a punch in the gut for sure. Like, you know, nobody could have seen that coming. Like, especially like what effect it is having on, you know, music and well everything else, like all the other industries. But you know, but that's how I kind of created the podcast, was out of kind of necessity, because I'm like, okay, I can't do anything anymore, so what can I do?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm just gonna chat with other musicians that are in the same situation as I am and kind of talk to them, see how they're doing, and you know, check it in on them. So you know, it's been a roller coaster ride for sure. I think you can kind of agree with that.
Yeah, well, our area is interesting because obviously Australia and the whole's done pretty good, and our area has been, I'm actually back doing just locally, like sometimes 2 or 3 gigs a week, just like,
wow.
Yeah. So, but then this week, so that's, the area that I live in, it's a holiday destination. So there's always, even during the week, there's always stuff going on. So there's always someone to play to. There's always someone. A lot of venues want to have live music, which is pretty cool. So, and at this point, because you know, they're not allowing dancing, just sit down crowds. So acoustic acts are like the preference, and that's that's what I offer. So yeah, so we're actually a hot commodity right now.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Acoustic boys and girls.
Very jealous that you get to perform. Like, we're still like in hardcore lockdown here in Germany. Like, they everything's closed. You can't go anywhere. You're not even allowed to. We have a curfew. We have to be home by 9. We have to it's like hardcore, really strict. And it's been like that since like last year, October. So
wow.
So I'm just like, oh, they're allowed to gig. Yes, go. Go, Josh.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's
I think what we're going through, and and the rest of some of the, especially around Europe, it just sounds like worlds apart. So yeah, that'd be very tough. Yeah. I suppose you just sort of seize the day and the opportunities that gives you, though, I suppose. But I know a lot of people have been more creative in the studio and stuff and doing their production. So, yeah, I've been doing a bit recently, so working on some stuff.
That's good. Like, you gotta adapt. You gotta be creative. Like, that's the cool thing as musicians. We are very creative people. So, you know, if one door closes, there are 50 others that open up. So, you know, I chose the podcast way. Someone else takes the studio way. You know, more people are writing or bringing up music, you know, or using more like the home studio direction. So, you know, there's still a lot of, you just got to use it differently. I think you still got, you know, this is kind of a special time in some weird way. You know, so you kind of got to take advantage of that. So, you know, whatever. So that's cool that like the more acoustic stuff is, you know, more popular. That's cool.
Yeah.
I watched your music videos. Obviously I went like on your YouTube channel and like looked at your videos, and they're, you know, I love you have like different types on there. You have like more the acoustic like studio versions, and then you have like real like music videos. For we'll talk about them in a minute, but if you make like those, I don't want to call them like real videos, like, but like the official music videos, right? How long does it take you to like make it? And then do you have a huge team, or is it just like you and the cameraman, or how does that, like, what's the process from like start to finish?
Yeah. Well, I made my first one that I made was my song Golden.
Yeah.
That was a few years ago now, but it basically, like, everything was very budgeted. But I had a cousin who was quite gifted in just capturing images, and he was only in high school still, and he was just super eager to be a part of it. And yeah, we sort of set out together, and I actually really enjoyed it. Part of me was like, wow, this is like creating imagery that goes with your music's a really cool process. It sort of brings this song to life in a whole new other light. Yeah, I even remember thinking, oh, I enjoy this more than music. Like, but then, yeah, it's a whole nother story. If you're grinding and doing edits and stuff, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah. And I have done that. I've done some, stuff all off my own back. Basically teaching myself how to use programs and all that. So.
Same,
but yeah, all that time in front of a computer screen is pretty exhausting. So
yeah, I get terrible headaches if I do it for too long. Like I could do a couple of hours and then yeah. So I feel
yeah. But yeah, those more official ones with it's just, I don't know, just trying to create like a picture board that goes with your song, just and doing everything within your means. Obviously you wish you could do other things, but just using what you've got. And then but it's a fun, I've always enjoyed it. I want to try and do some more for some upcoming songs. So yeah.
That's cool. How do you know like what shots you want to have? When is it just like kind of random, or how you feel like, or do you actually have like a storyboard beforehand and be like, okay, these are the shots I want, or is it like kind of a mix?
Yeah, I've had the story, like that Golden one was a storyboard that was very intentional. There was one I did for my song with the wind, and basically it was like a collage of everything I got from like a tour that I did around Australia, just all the imagery. More of a post-reflection thing. That's nice as well. I don't know, I suppose the storyboard thing is cool when you have the intent around it and try and, I suppose when you have a storyboard you have a bit more of an expectation, and you could, if you're not getting that expectation, you might get frustrated, or it was sort of freeing doing it the other way, like, oh, just that looks good in this moment, wow, that really just rolling with what you've got. So it's always nice to have lots of footage though. If you don't have enough, then that sucks. You're trying to fill out a length of a song, and then there's the other problem if you got too much and you're like, I don't know, trying to do a cull, so
yeah, that's for sure. There are so many times I can tell you where I was like editing a video and I'm like, I don't have enough B-roll. Like I don't like, or not good ones where it's kind of blurry, or it has like a shot in there that shouldn't have been in there, or like stuff like that. I'm just like, I can't use it now. Like, so yeah, I'd rather have the problem of having too much than having to go through it than too little, and you kind of have to like reuse like your thoughts.
No, hopefully I can do some soon. I've got some ideas. Hopefully might do a storyboard version this time.
with Golden, you did have like other people in there as well. Like that's what I wanted to ask. Were those like actors, or was it like family, or?
They're like aspiring actors. Yeah, and the guy Sam has actually he does ads in that, and then Bridie at the time, she was doing an acting class. So yeah, they were into the idea of being in front of the camera. They were pretty comfortable. So yeah, no, it was good fun. They were friends too. So I mean, if it was purely professional, it would be and I was paying the big bucks, I'd probably be a bit more stressed about it, because you want, if you're investing time and money and it's not turning out the way you want, then it's a bit frustrating. So
yeah, of course, but I mean, it proves that you can make a great music video with like a very low to little budget, right? I think that there are a lot of musicians out there that think they need to like spend so much money on music video and it needs to look like, I don't know, like $1 million and stuff like that. But like, that's why I was like, wow, these are like great music videos. Like, but I don't know how much you spent on them, but
yeah, I actually honored everyone that I could with money, even my friends who would have done it for free, actually, because but yeah, it didn't end up being like, I know how expensive they can be. It's just like, as long as we've got some strong ideas, and so I think I probably pulled it all off, like that golden one, for like a bit over $1,000. Yeah, maybe, which is not much for maybe less. I can't remember, but
I mean, there's always room up. Like, you could spend millions. You can be the next Swift and spend millions in a music video. But I mean, as normal musicians, like you can make a great music video with just like a little budget. Like, was there something that you kind of underestimated, like the first time you made the music video, or something where you're like, oh, I wish I would have known this before? Has there been anything where you're like, oh, I totally underestimated this situation or this outcome or whatnot?
I suppose the first thing that comes to mind is like making sure you got lots of B-rolls, like you said, like not to just think like shoot a lot of extra stuff, and then also the stuff that you thought was like a bit random often has a flair, like just the stuff that's off the storyboard, just to keep shooting. And then obviously handing over a bit of creative license as well. Like I was sort of directing it in a sense, my little indie film, but or indie video clip, but I suppose also handing over just those creative freedoms to everyone else, and see what, and often they just come up with stuff you wouldn't have otherwise, and so just being a little bit flexible, just creating lots of content. I think the only problem is if you got heaps of cool stuff and then you start running out of the top of space in your timeline of your song, and that's enough. That's probably like I said, I hate choosing between like multiple things, almost like being limited, restricted, just like, oh, that's good enough. But but in the end, the product's better if you're choosing with lots of content.
I think that's great advice, for sure, because I think that's something I struggle with in the beginning. I'm like, oh yeah, just a few shots here and there, and then you're editing and you're just like, crap, like what I used, like, and give your credit is due, for sure. Like, don't be greedy.
You're making me sound like a pro video guy.
I mean, that's the point. I just really like your videos, so I'm like, oh god, like I know we're gonna get into music in just a second, but I'm like, I want to ask for the music videos first, because like they just look really cool, especially like for like Soul Breakers. Like, that must have been so cold because you're like constantly in the water. I don't know, maybe Australia it's like super warm, but it was like more the nighttime-ish, like sun was kind of going under some.
Yeah,
I don't know. Wasn't that like?
it was really cool actually, because I did that with my cousin as well. We did both Golden and Soul Breaks, yeah. And I basically we had a day organized, and I didn't know what the weather was going to be like, you know. And it could have been this bright sunny day, but it was that day we were doing the shots, you know. But we didn't have the flexibility to choose a particular mood, but that was actually perfect, because that's what I envisioned for the song, like to have that it was just a real moody, dark, crappy weather day, and I was like, this is perfect, like this is what I wanted, like, and the surf was rough, and I wanted all that type of imagery, and it was it really came together quite well. So, and I wasn't planning on getting wet. Oh no, I wasn't planning. I was planning on getting wet, but not so much in my clothes. But then it happened really early in the piece, and I was basically in wet clothes for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think like a few weeks later, I actually got pretty badly sick. I think, yeah. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. But the price you pay for good art.
Exactly. No, it looks really cool, especially in the beginning when you're just like laying there and kind of the waves come in.
Yeah, I always had that vision in my head with that shot. That was it. Yeah, but I think I did that one a little too early, and then I had to go take other shots in the wet. I should have done it right at the end.
No. That's what as I was like watching it, I'm like, I hope he did all those shots like at the end, because by the end of the video you're like full in the waves, completely soaked, like
yeah.
And you're like,
yeah, that was pretty cool. I think by the time I
cool.
realized I was wet, I was like, oh, I'll just go for a swim.
yeah, like forget everything else, might as well, go full out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a really cool music video. Just that opening shot, just of you just laying there, it just hooks you immediately. You're just like, what's going on? Like, why is he laying there? Like, and then you just kind of watch the entire but
that's cool. I got you.
yeah, no, especially like for Heart is Ready, you had I think it's a very special video that you put out, especially since you wrote behind it scenes from around home, which I thought was like really nice, that you it felt like someone from the outside was able to look into your life. Was that something that you did on purpose, or a little bit. Yeah, I suppose especially at that time of life, I literally just, my kid was like 3 months old. I think there's a bit of a brief shot of him in it. I didn't want it to be baby spam, even though it's tempting to be so cute, but it wouldn't make any sense. But there's a very brief shot where they're in and out of it. And I mean, that was obviously the biggest part of my life then. But then, yeah, like he was only 3 months old. But then I was in this weird season where, I actually had a lot of time on hands. I was surfing. I sort of took the foot off the pedal a little bit just to be a bit more around home. But then I got to go surfing and stuff. And so I love surfing. I live in a really nice area. I'm pretty blessed where I live. So, yeah, I think I was just trying to capture just a bit of the essence of, not that I surf every day, but like when the days are good, just enjoying the coastline around our place, our hinterland, and then just, it was even a little bit of at the time, the house I was living in, it was just meant to be a real, just like honest, raw thing with no pretense of like, this is a music video. It's just like, oh, it's like a handy cam, a few moments in my life sort of thing. So yeah, maybe they'll use it at my funeral or something. No, you could definitely
video.
Yeah, you just kind of be like, oh yeah, this is Josh. You just kind of get to know you a little bit and kind of like letting us into your life and just showing us around, like, oh, this is where I'm surfing and this is my wife and this is my son and this is this is what I do. And so I thought that was very fitting for the song, which I'm gonna segue into. Heart is Ready. I think I just had a very special connection with that song. I just kind of, from all these songs, I don't know, that was the one where it's like, oh, this one is different. This one feels a little different. What was the story behind that song?
It's actually a bit of a funny story because one of my friends had a 40th, and she's like, everyone's going to bring me a gift, and it's going to be like a creative gift. You didn't have to, but it was encouraged. And people like wrote like a heartwarming or funny poem or something like that, or bought like a cake or wrote a song, and I actually sat out to do like something a bit just gimmicky and funny. Yeah. But then I was sort of just in this mood where I was a little bit more contemplative, and then my friend Ali Joy, she's done a lot of travel around the world, like, and she's sort of always just chased the winds in somewhat, and I suppose, she's just, but in saying that, besides all the adventure, she's a lady who's full of heart, you know what I mean? And she's a good friend of mine. She's always she gives so generously of it all herself. And so I just like wrote a song, but then I also identified some of the things that were like common ground for us, and that's where it came from. I actually wrote it. I remember sitting down in a little park by this lake and just like, oh, this song's not funny at all. This is more like not serious, but a bit more heartfelt, a bit more like, like, oh, I'll just keep doing this. I'll write her a good song, maybe I'll like it, and and it sort of stuck. At the time, I was actually listening to heaps of Ryan Adams, and then I was like, a bit, not so much influenced by his particular writing because he's very melancholy, but his sound and so it was a bit of an amalgamation of a few things like that. So but the song, it's sort of came out of that circumstance, but the essence of it, I suppose, is just just, well, it's about adventure somewhat, but then in the end, like, I'm like, well, it's, not everyone travels all around the world and, chases the wind. Life's an adventure in many ways, even in like choosing to start up a family or get married to someone or do a certain job, as long as it's being true to yourself and what you feel your calling is. So,
I love the line when you say when your head don't get it but your heart is ready to go, and you like repeat it obviously multiple times throughout the song. I love that line. It's so fitting for like everything. I'm just like, yeah, right, your head doesn't get it but your heart is like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. Like where did that line come from? Did you just like pop into your head, or did you kind of have to rewrite it a couple of times?
I think that just came a bit out of nowhere. I was in a season of life where I was sort of like giving up a little bit of the heady stuff, like, because that was literally right after like before I went out and did music full time for 3 years. I'm actually a bit of a heady person in the sense my other job was designing buildings, structural engineering. So, and then I know people in that world, just in that whole classic world of normal careers and academics, like everyone's very well, like, calculates everything. And my job was calculations, And so, but then I think for me it's a bit of an overcoming line, because, you know, like at the time I gave up a lot of like security and definites about what was going on, but at the same time I knew I had to just completely like change direction in my life and that, and it was a bit more like finally responding to like what was in your heart, rather than just letting your head always like dictate what you're doing in life. So in saying that, I'm like, I suppose I do agree with some sort of wisdom, but there's often a point in life where you gotta, like, the heart, it has more intelligence than your head, I suppose. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Wow,
yeah, and
great advice.
What's that?
Go on. No, I say like that's probably the best advice.
yeah. I'm just shooting off the cuff here, but yeah, I feel like my friend Ali sort of lived a life like that, you know. And I'm like, it's like, oh, and it was dedicated to her, the song. So yeah, I feel like she probably already knew that her heart was more intelligent than her head in some ways. Yeah.
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 Sometimes you just gotta. I could start a whole thing on this entire thing, but you know, there's actually a science behind that entire like head heart kind of thing. And most of the time, as we call the heart, or our gut feeling, is usually, most of the time, it's right. Like, but our head comes up with excuses, likes to interfere with that, because there's a sentence that Tony Robbins once said that completely changed everything. And he said that our mind, or our brain, is designed to keep us alive, not happy, like something like that. Like, we think that, you know, if we think through everything and all of that, we think our brain should make us happy. It should make the decisions that make us happy, when in reality, the brain is just designed to keep us alive, because that's how the human race survives, right? That's how how it's been doing its thing for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and that's why the human race still exists. But if you really want to be happy, you need to kind of shut off that head thing and trying to calculate everything and trying to make safe decisions. And that's when the heart comes in, or gut feeling, or however you want to call it, because that's usually the one that's right. So interesting that you brought, you know, that you said that so nicely in just like a song.
Yeah. Sometimes the song just becomes what it is, and then you're like, whoa, what was that even about? But then I've had moments of reflection, and then and when people ask you, the answer often comes out.
How was that with Season? Because I also really like Season and the lyrics and the imagery behind that. What was the story behind, you know, that song coming together?
So there's no particular story as such, but I think it's more just identifying those like times in your life when you feel like you're at the end of your own rope, sort of thing. And it's about sort of reaching out for something bigger to help you out, something bigger than yourself. So like, for me, like I'm Christian, so I sort of have faith in God, like, and that's, I believe we come to the end of our own rope and we reach out, you know what I mean? So and so it's a bit of a spiritual song for me, and it's sort of like a calling out sort of song. So I mean, we all have those times in our life when we're feeling bit down, and it might be extended downs, and it might be depression or whatever. But I suppose it's just knowing that you do have an end of your own rope, and there's something bigger out there to help you out, you know. So
yeah, sure.
yeah, it's
yeah. No, I love that, you know, the lyrics are great. Because I'm a lyric person. I'm like lyric and bass. For some weird reason, that's where my ears go. And so I'm just like, wow, like, I don't know, it was just such a good, I don't know, I just could feel the connection to that. I'm just like, yeah, that's definitely different. You know, because there are so many times where I'm just like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I'm done. I don't know what to do. And then you just kind of find yourself on your knees and just praying to God. You're just like, I need you. Like, I've been trying it all on my own, and it's not working out the way I thought it would. And, you know, up until then, he's never called me. So
yeah,
never done.
Yeah, we all get there. We're all so yeah, I suppose it's just a song testament to that. It's sort of, it's trying to, a song of like honesty with yourself as well, but then also not being stuck there, you know, sort of trying to be hopeful as well. So yeah.
No,
but
really, really good song.
Yeah. Thanks.
Is there a certain lyric that you're like, you know what, that's a good one, like that's a very special lyric that from all the songs you've written, it doesn't even have to be a song that you've released, maybe no one's heard of it. Is there a line or a certain lyric or a verse or a chorus where you're like, that's special?
Oh, you put me on the spot here. I mean, I have a lot of lyrics come in my head that I don't write down at the moment. I'm like, yeah, that's amazing, I should write that down, and then I don't, and then it goes away. I don't know. I like the imagery of one in Heart Is Ready, actually. Not that I think it's that good of a lyric, but I just like, oh, that's a cool bit of like just imagery, like a shooting star, there's a glint in the eye from above. So it's like the idea that, like, you know, from above, the shooting star is just like the glint of an eye, you know, it's like it's looked your way. So that's one of the, just in the verse. But yeah, I don't know, I just thought that was like, I always sing it and go, well, that's a pretty crazy idea. Of a shooting star, like just a little, you know, how you see someone's eyes glint your way, like, but I don't know, I'd have to, sometimes I've had to write my lyrics out, because sometimes I just sing the song and I'm just like in it, and it's almost like subconscious, like you sing your music so much, like gigs and that, and you it's almost like forget the words that you even wrote. It's something like when you're typing it out, like, well, that's actually, like, I did all right there, that was a pretty good one. So otherwise it's just like like this almost subliminal, like vibrational thing you're just doing in the moment, you know. And it's like you're not like intellectually connecting with your lyrics when you're performing, but when I had to type these lyrics out, I'm like, I had to think about, you know, like review my own lyrics. And so I've had some moments, and then I've had some songs where I'm like, oh, that's a bit cringy, but you know, that's out there.
We all have those songs, those cringy songs.
Gotta have a good cringe song. Everyone's gotta have a good cringe song.
You gotta, you know, Ed Sheeran says you gotta get all the dirty water out, you know, at some point. For the clear water comes. So that's, that's at least what I tell myself. Is there a skill that if you would go to bed and wake up the next morning and you could do it perfectly, what skill would that be? It could be any music, related to marketing, video production, whatever you want, one skill, you could do it perfectly. Wake up in the morning and you could speak fluent French, or you could write every hit song on the planet or whatnot.
Yeah, it's crazy, hey, because I don't know like what defines someone who like breaks into the next level of success or whatever in music, and you don't know. It's like, do I need to write a better song? Do I need to be a better singer? Do I need to play my guitar better? Like, do I need to be? And then marketing is massive, and that's like, for an independent person, that's a massive burden. You're like, oh, do I need to be doing better marketing? And then when you look at it in that light and you're trying to assess, like, if you're thinking about your music in a career sense and going further with it, you know, obviously all those things are better things, you know, and if you had to choose one, which one really counts? I don't know. In the end, besides like knowing what, besides considering like what's success or not, like in the end, in terms of the art and of, I just want to be the best songwriter I can be, I suppose, you know, and do what if I could write a really amazing song, that would be my dream, you know. So and I don't like, there's so many amazing songwriters that have obscure random voices, you know, or, you know, like, so maybe, you know, like some people have it all, some people use the things that they've got to, you know, so, but yeah, not sure. So I guess I would say, yeah, if I woke up, it's like, just to be gifted a song, an amazing, amazing song, and I could keep replicating good songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good writing. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. It's interesting because like everyone's doesn't matter how often I ask the question, the answer is different every single time. It's so interesting.
What's that? The answer is what?
It's different every single time.
Oh, different. Yeah.
I've never gotten like the same thing twice so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I don't think
if you have to choose one, yeah, it's just
that's the cool thing about the question is there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, for me, I think it's just very interesting because it just shows so much of the character of the person, I think. I just love asking that question because nobody is expect unless they've been listening to the podcast and they know it's coming. But
yeah, so yeah, because everyone, I mean, you interview mostly like singer-songwriters or musicians, hey? So there'd be
sometimes I do have like producers on here that are like songwriters and producers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mostly singer-songwriters. If they produce, then that as well. So yeah, it's very interesting. But my last question that I want to ask you, then I don't want to take up too much of your time because you're already so patient with me. But for my last closing question that I like to ask is, what makes a good song?
Ooh. You know those moments where it's like really simple and you like wish you came up with that, like, and it's not because they've done anything too sophisticated, even lyrically, but the feeling of it and the simplicity of it's just perfect. I don't know. I get jealous of that sometimes. So like, oh, you know, how'd you do that? Like that could have been, you know, I don't know, like, yeah, the beauty and profoundness of simplicity. Saying that, then, listen to this guy. I don't know if you know him, called Henry Jamison. Do you know Henry Jamison over in the States? And he's just got this amazing way of like almost being like philosophical, but in through music. It's like, but it's done with in a way of like a story sense, and I'm just like, I just find it so like just so unique. Yeah, so I don't know, like to be unique as well is another thing if you can. But yeah, but is that a good answer?
Yeah, no. Like, again, there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Question. But yeah, I always say simplicity is king, because if you can explain something simply enough, you've understood it deeply enough. So you can only explain
that's it. That's a cool one. Yeah.
Complex. You can only explain a very complex, thing, whatever it is. If you can explain that to your son, that's 1.5 years old, or if you can explain that to a 5-year-old, then you've understood the topic well enough. Because only someone that really understands it well can break it down, so anyone can understand it. So for me, like, simplicity is like the hardest thing to do. If it's with design, if it's with cooking, if it's with music, production, wherever you close, doesn't matter what you're doing, the simpler it is, the harder it gets, because you really need to narrow it down what the most important thing is. Right? You can't get lost in something. You really need to narrow down, okay, what if this is fluff, and what's really important? If I take it out, is it going to collapse? Is it going to still be what it is? Or like, that's just my opinion, but I've just realized the simpler you make it, or try to make it, the harder it actually gets.
Yeah, well, I'm doing sort of been doing a bit more self-production lately, and definitely go down that world of what, like, I almost enjoy going through the process of knowing what the possibilities are in a song, but just gotta be careful not to choke out a song, and then, like, exactly like you said, like, what's the most important thing right now? Like, what am I choking that out, with my more production?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. It's like it's pretty overwhelming sometimes, like, to make those creative decisions. But I think if you have like a clear intent from the start, you get a little lost in it all sometimes. I think as long as you can honestly review yourself and just be like, oh, actually, I don't need all that. It was fine as it is. So yeah.
100% agree. 100%. That's a good. I think that's a good high to leave it on.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time, and it's late for Australia, so I'm gonna get you to bed. Where can people find you? Where can they find you on social media, on Spotify? Where can they check you out?
Oh, well, my name's Josh Lee Hamilton. That's LAA for Lee. And it's just all those platforms. And if you wanted to see those music videos that we've been talking about, are up there. I suppose the most common medium for people to listen to music these days is on those streaming platforms. So that's where I've been putting out some more recent releases. I've got a song coming up, should be out in the next month or two. I've just got the mix back, so just going through the process of writing my mix notes. I'm out there with everyone else in the world of digital entertainment. Yeah, in terms of if you're a local Australian person, I play mostly around the Northern Rivers of New South Wales, southern Queensland, but one day I'd like to come play in Europe. If it ever became a possibility. So
whenever this COVID thing starts settling down, but we've been saying that for a year now, so anyways, gonna make the best out of it. But basically it's Josh Lee Hamilton on all the platforms. So I'll link your stuff up below. So I'll link up your YouTube, your Instagram, your Spotify, iTunes. Everything's down below, so they'll have no trouble finding your stuff and your music and everything else. So yeah, again, thank you for your time, and thank you for chatting with me and sharing sharing what you know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Musician Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Alise Koa. I hope you got to learn something new about producing or songwriting or mental health when it comes to making music, the fears that most musicians have when making music. So everything that's behind the scenes, behind making music, you will learn it here, because I'm basically talking to anyone that makes music all around the world. So I have a great privilege to learn all of that, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So follow this podcast if you enjoyed what you heard today, and go and share it with somebody that you think could enjoy this episode as well, benefit and learn from it. And as always, there's more information at alisekoa.com/podcast. Talk to you soon. Bye.